All right, it is time for the second part of my 2023 NFL predictions. And in this one, we've got the NFC North, a very confusing division, but jumping right into it, in fourth place, I've got the Green Bay Packers finishing with a record of 6-11. It's the first year of Jordan Love being the main starter, as we know. But the main question on this team is that receiving core. Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and Jaden Reed are the top three receivers, and 2 years ago, they weren't even in the league. Even their top two tight ends were just drafted this past April. So there's a big question mark around that whole offense. The O-line's going to be good, so Jordan Love will have some time behind that group of guys. The defense should be a top 10 unit this season, so that'll help them. And we know that Christian Watson has some potential. We've seen him play, and even when Jordan Love would play in games that Aaron Rodgers would be injured, or in even some of the partial games that he would be injured for, he didn't look terrible. So, maybe Jordan Love can prove some people wrong. I know a lot of people have the Packers finishing last in this division. I've seen a few people having them sneak into the playoffs, but really nobody having them at the top of the division. I don't see any type of way that they win the division, especially with this type of receiving core. We saw that they were in the rumors to trade for Jonathan Taylor. They were head-to-head with the Dolphins, but obviously no move was ended up being made. It didn't make much sense because they have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, so that's going to be a lot of help for, Jordan Love. But, that receiving core, it's just a huge question mark. Like I said, the defense is great. They should have a top 10 unit this season. So, Jordan Love has the help, just not on the offensive side of the ball. So we'll see what happens with that, though. I have the Packers finishing 6-11, though. Moving into third place in this division, I have the Chicago Bears finishing with a record of 7-10. Now, I'm a fan of this Bears team, not enough to having them into the playoffs or even winning the division, which I've seen a lot of people have for some reason. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but this is a very important year in the Bears rebuild. We know that, Josh Allen got Stephon Diggs, Tua got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Hurts got A.J. Brown, and DJ Moore isn't one of those guys, but DJ Moore's a stud, and he, I think he's borderline top 15. He's around that area. He's a great receiver. And considering that Justin Fields went into last season with, I think, Velus Jones Jr. as his wide receiver 2, because they didn't have Claypool at the time. Darnell Mooney was his receiver 1, but he was getting doubled basically every play. Justin Fields, the first half of the season, played really bad. Last year was basically, they didn't win many games last year, but that last year was just basically to see if Justin Fields could be the franchise quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And he showed that in the second half of the season. He started running the ball more, proving that, he can be that guy on the ground. But this year, I'm excited to see his progression and what he can do in the air as an actual passer. He has the weapons now. They brought in, they extended Cole Kmet. They brought in Robert Tonyan from the Packers. And of course, like I said, they brought in DJ Moore from the Panthers in that blockbuster trade. And we'll see what they can do. They improved the offensive line. They drafted Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. They improved the defense. We know that Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, both of them are studs. Their linebacker position is set. They brought in Yannick Ngakoue to improve the pass rush. The secondary is already set with the cornerbacks and the safeties. But the Chicago Bears should be a really fun team to watch this year. I'm excited to see. I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck into the playoffs, but if they had a disappointing year, I'm not even a Bears fan, but I'd be pretty disappointed because we know the potential that Justin Fields has. There was a reason why he was drafted that high out of Ohio State. So, we'll see what he's able to provide this year for the Bears. But moving into second place in this division, I have the Vikings finishing 8-9. A big drop-off from last season. They finished 11-0 in one-possession games last year, and then they lost Adam Thielen, they lost Dalvin Cook, they lost Eric Kendricks. And I'm gonna talk about that defense for a sec. The players on that defense, they have college football is going on. Everyone wants to talk, but the defense, the guys they have on that defense, Harrison Smith, Danielle Hunter, they have some guys, but overall the defense isn't that good. They brought in Brian Flores, who, as a Dolphins fan, I'm not a huge fan of, but I know that as a defensive coordinator, as a head coach, he can't be that good. We learned that with Tua and the Dolphins, but as a defensive coordinator, Brian Flores can be a really great coach. So, when he was with the Dolphins, he turned our defense into a top 10 unit with guys that, Xavier Howard wasn't even that great back then. And other than that, we didn't have many pieces. So I'm excited to see what Brian Flores can do with that defense. Even without the personnel, I think that he can improve it into a top 15 unit, which should be good enough for the Vikings. But onto the offense side of the ball, we know that they lost Dalvin Cook. They have Alexander Madison, who was promising last season, but as a running back one, will he be able to provide the rushing offense for Minnesota? And losing Adam Thielen, we know that they replaced him with Jordan Addison, who showed some flashes in preseason. He played really good in college. Justin Jefferson, we already know the type of player he is. Hopefully for them, they can extend him before the season starts, and we know the type of we don't even know the type of contract actually that Justin Jefferson will get. If it comes out in the next couple weeks before the season starts, it's gonna be a massive one. For Kirk Cousins though, this is a big season for him. I feel like this could be his last season as the Vikings quarterback if they disappoint it, which is exactly what I have them doing. I have them finishing 8-9, missing the playoffs. And if they do finish 8-9, this should be Kirk Cousins' last season as the Vikings quarterback. I mean, they gave him Justin Jefferson. They've added some weapons for him. They had Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen last year. They made the playoffs with a record of 14-3, hosting a game. Losing to a wild card team in the Giants isn't really what the Vikings had in mind when they went into the postseason, but we'll see what's in store for Minnesota this season. Going to be a very interesting team to keep eyes on. But now, winning the NFC North for the first time in I don't even know how long. Maybe it's never been done before, but I know it's been a minute. The Detroit Lions finishing as the 3 seed in the NFC with the record of 10-7. I don't think that they're gonna go out and finish 12-5 or anything like that, but I do think that this is gonna be the first time in a while the Detroit Lions fans are going to have a smile on their face watching the season end this year. It's finally their year. They improved the defense. They brought in Cam Sutton, CJ Gardner-Johnson. They drafted Jack Campbell. And even reaching on Jahmyr Gibbs was a question that a lot of people had during the draft, but maybe he's able to prove haters wrong this season. As a Dolphins fan, I had eyes on Jahmyr Gibbs as we had a pick in the second round, and he was drafted with the 12th overall pick. But he's going to be their starting running back this season. We know that they traded DeAndre Swift, so it makes a lot of sense that that they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs that high, especially because they traded back. They also drafted Sam Laporta to be their tight end one. He was also a guy I had eyes on as a Dolphins fan because we don't really have a clear tight end. They have a top 5 offensive line unit. Like I said, they improved the defense. The offense is looking good. Jared Goff could be getting extended. There's a lot to talk about this Lions team. They should be a really fun team to watch last year. They were a fun team to watch. They should be a fun team to watch this year. They were a fun team to watch last year, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So now that they improved their team, this year could be a really fun year to be a Lions fan. And even if you're not a Lions fan, just to watch them in general, unless they're playing against your team. But luckily, the Dolphins don't play the Lions this year, so not much to worry about. We know the type of coach Dan Campbell can be. He's a player's coach. The players love him. But yeah, the NFC North division is going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to be a confusing one because a lot of teams in this division are hard to predict. It could really go any which way. But I think that there is a clear favorite in this division. Like I said, that is the Detroit Lions. But either way, that'll wrap up. This is only episode 2 out of 8 of my record predictions for this season. 2 out of 9, actually, with the award predictions coming soon. So that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.